I'd like to call the Baldwin City Council meeting for May 27th, 2025 to order, please. If you will join me, please stand for an invocation and pledge. Father God, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for bringing all of these people into our meeting to share ideas and community. Please pray for all of the residents. Bless all of the residents in our city. Please keep your watchful eye over our first responders, public works, and help council to make wise decisions always. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As has become the custom, folks on Facebook wanted to know who was here in the gallery. We have almost a full council this evening. Councilman Venter is not with us. He has work obligations this evening. We have CAO Woodmaster. We have legal counsel Bubba Samuels. We have our city clerk, Aaron Gathercole. We have our code enforcement officer. We have members of the press. We have guests in the gallery. So we have a full house this evening. It's wonderful. The first item on the agenda is our consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look at the council meeting 512 minutes?
Yes.
Any comments, corrections, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Nick and Amanda Morris, you had signed up to address the council. Please come forward, state your name, your address, and business with the council, please.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hello, I'm Amanda Morris,
I'm Nick Morris.
and we are with the Hollow Log. It is a art gallery, custom frame shop, and now disc golf store in Cornelia, but very, very close to y'all. And we dropped off a packet of information to Dr. Almondo about a month ago, and she invited us to come and talk to you all about the possibility of having a disc golf course in Baldwin. And disc golf is a growing sport that's just sweeping the nation. It's gotten really, really popular in the past several years, and we think that it has a lot of possibility of bringing community together, being great exercise. It's an inexpensive way for families to get out and enjoy nature and be together, and we have more to share.
Yeah, it's definitely for everybody, like old and young. A couple of the schools now offer scholarships for it. True McConnell and Toccoa Falls do for sure. And it's just really good. Like a lot of the best people are, 12 to 15 years old, and it's just really good for young people to get to do something outside and not have to really leave town for it.
Can you explain to us what disc golf is?
Yes, so disc golf is played just like regular golf, only with discs such as these. So you have drivers and mid-ranges and putters, and you really only need like one disc to get started, but players as they develop might have 20 discs in their bag or so, but you don't need much to get going.
Yeah, and I mean, like she said, it's the same. You throw this, like 1,000 feet instead of hitting the ball.
Yeah, so you're
you
playing.
don't need mud.
Yeah, you're playing to a basket, so you have like a
It's like
par.
a basket with chains, and it catches the goal.
And it's on a post.
It's on a post.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
like frisbee golf almost.
Yes, it
pretty
is.
cool.
It
Same
is.
thing.
So courses have like 9 holes or 18 holes usually, and there's a course in Homer. There's one in Clarksville. There's several in Toccoa, but there's a real gap like in this area, and there's definitely people traveling to play, people going all over the country to play really, And so if there were to be a disc golf course here, people are guaranteed to come. And as the Hollow Log, if this were to happen, we definitely would have like a big opening event, let people know what it is, how to play, maybe have some events at some of your, like your October Festival or some community events where we could explain it a little more and get people invested before the city were to invest the money to do it. Which is not very much, just to say, really you just need the baskets themselves, which are really strong metal baskets. And once they're in the ground and the course has been developed, then that's really it. The players are very respectful and it kind of maintains itself once it's ready to go.
Okay, so the baskets are actually on a pole, on a post.
In the ground,
Yes.
yes.
Oh, I see.
It'll be like this tall.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, the back of my shirt is a good.
Oh.
That's what it looks like. Okay.
I probably.
Yeah, a lot of churches have them. A lot of middle schools, high schools, anywhere that really has like 10 acres. A lot of places have them, and I think there's like 20,000 in the country now, like something like that. I mean, there's a lot.
Maybe 300 in Georgia.
So interesting. Are there disc golf things already in Habersham County that people are?
There's one at the trade school in Clarksville, and then there's one at Rose Lane. I guess it's the rec center in Toccoa.
So I guess
Okay.
Stevens County.
Stevens
so,
County.
So just one in Habersham right now.
At the trade.
Yeah,
At the
yeah,
trade
just one at the trade school. Yeah.
So that said, the reason I asked that is that one of the reasons why you see a whole lot of folks in here today is that we've got some budget
Yeah,
discussions going on.
we heard.
Yes.
So
It's a great
now,
time.
typically, what happens with things like this is we have SPOS dollars, and in Banks County, well, we have some property in Banks County that's kind of sitting up on a hill. Not a whole lot you can do with it, but it is there.
Mhm.
Generally, our council has been really excited about things to do in the south end of the county because all of the recreation's in the north end of the county. But we're in a little bit of a budget problem. So that said, do you think that there would be enough interest in this that people may want to contribute privately to put that infrastructure in?
I think so, for sure.
If, say, the city
Mhm.
had the land
Mhm.
that's being unused, would there be buy-in from the
I
community?
think so for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, they could get like their name on the basket, or like, you know, a lot of places have like a bench with a
There you
little
go.
plaque on it or something.
Yeah.
I think people would eat that up.
Absolutely.
Like, people love to feel a little ownership over something like that.
Well, I love my name to be on stuff. So.
Yeah,
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 I'll
it-
take a bench.
definitely.
Yeah.
And we've heard, I know that Habersham County did like a big survey of what people are looking for, and parks and recreation are like top of the list. And so I know that, you know, even when budgets are tight, people still need an outlet and one that's
Especially-
close.
And it would create a park as well, so it's like, there wouldn't be a lot of maintaining or like, you know, flattening hills or making hills or anything like that. We could use anything really, like even if there were water on it. But it would also make like for a nice hiking trail, a little walking trail around it for whoever. I mean, you could squeeze a dog park in nearby, like whatever, you know, like it would just be a nice place to be.
Right. There has been, questions for, oh, I'm sorry.
I just had a question as if there's any estimates as to the cost for manpower, equipment, gasoline to keep 10 acres or so mowed, if
No.
somebody has to maintain the ground.
Well, if it's like a very wooded area, then there won't be a lot of that maintenance to do because the footpaths will sort of be formed. And in other courses that have a lot of grass, I'm not sure if that's the kind of property that we're talking about. So I think that, you know, through the woods is ideal,
Yeah.
and then there wouldn't be a lot
I mean,
of
it would maintain
maintenance.
itself like a hiking trail does,
Right.
like Russell or anywhere.
So let me fill in some gaps here. So, I've spoken with Nick and Amanda about this. We've identified a piece of land that the city owns already, and it's on Stone Pile. And right now it is a wooded area, which actually works well for disc golf. And Nick would help us design the course, so there wouldn't be a charge for that. But the interesting part is that, was it SPOS 7? Is that Banks County SPOS 7?
SPOS 3.
SPOS 3.
I'm sorry, SPOS 4 that there's.
4. So in Banks County SPOS 4, there was money that was already allocated for recreation, and it's not being used, or it has not been used to this point. And that land on Stonepile is just sitting there as well. So when Nick and Amanda came with this idea, and we've talked, I mean, Carrie, you've been on the rec board too, we've talked about the fact that there's not something on this end of the county. We've talked about pickleball, it's noisy, it's expensive. This would be an interesting option. So Nick and Amanda are here tonight to introduce themselves and kind of get council buy-in. It's not a vote tonight. There are some steps that we would have to do to see if this is actually a viable project, if council is interested in pursuing this in the south end of the county. So.
Is there, do people pay when they go, like,
To the park itself?
Or
Not
they just
usually,
go?
not when it's a city park.
I got you.
There's one like at the winery in Tiger, and it's
Okay.
$10.
Yeah.
So if it's private, then it's paid, but usually city ones, no.
I got you.
But, you know, knowing, pardon?
You just have to have your own.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, and
which-
I mean, if you play long enough or walk around for long enough, you're gonna find some. And, you know, and a lot of them are like $5 or $6, but you can get one for 30, you know, so it's a pretty wide range of price.
So you don't need much special equipment once.
No,
the
you could be
park is
playing for
actually
$10.
built.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could be out there.
And it's family oriented,
Oh, for
family
sure.
friendly.
Absolutely.
So we have sort of identified some land, possible revenue stream that we already have. Is this something the council might be interested in pursuing?
I mean, I'm definitely interested in finding out what all it would entail. Quick question about the SPLOST 4. Is that the $30,000 that we have not had a place to put it?
Well, we have parks in both SPOS 3 and SPOS 4.
Yeah.
Right, so there were some monies that were in the SPOS 3
Yeah.
that, I think it's the 30,000,
Yeah.
we're to give or take a couple thousand. But then there's also a bucket of money in SPOS 4.
So just to clarify, when we say buckets of money, we're not talking about like loads of it that we're just like, you know, stuffing our pockets with.
Make sure you clarify before the pitchforks come out.
So the reason I'm saying that is that when SPLOST goes on a referendum for a vote, we actually, as a council or commission, have to identify, before it even goes out for the referendum for the vote, we have to say to the voters, we intend to spend this percentage on, we'll say, public safety, this percentage on capital improvements, this percentage on parks and recreation, and you can't just go and spend it on something else. If you tell the public that that's what you're gonna spend it on, then you have to do it. So that's kind of why it's an older SPLOST amount, it's just been sort of sitting out there, and we haven't really had a project to put, that's not true, we've had projects to put it towards, it's just not very much, and so it's like, well, if we start this project, we're gonna have to add more money to it.
We've completed the projects that were intended for that, so that's the
Right.
money that's left over.
There you go, even better way. So just so you know, it's not buckets of money that we're.
Yeah, that's become.
And I don't think we're actually asking for very much in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
It's a basket is like $400, probably a little cheaper,
Yeah.
and we need hopefully 18 of them.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
then
like,
buy-in from the public is an amazing way for
yeah,
things like that.
for sure.
Well, there's also opportunities for, Boy Scouts, like Eagle Scout projects,
Girl
you know,
Scout projects.
Girl Scout projects, if, you know, somebody wants to make benches.
Yeah.
You know, a bench at the beginning and a bench at the end. So there are ways to
Definitely.
incorporate the public into this as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
I
great.
mean, so I guess they're looking for some kind of consensus. Are we interested, not interested in exploring this?
I mean, like I said, for me, go ahead, sorry.
No, I'm not saying,
Talking too much.
no, I wasn't saying that. You asked.
I'm asking you, are you interested?
I keep thinking about down the road, once it's developed and it's there, it's not gonna take care of itself. There's gonna be security issues, you've got all these acres of woods, and things go on in public places where if security is needed, there would be maintenance of the trails that would be needed. And so I'm concerned.
Some
with,
amount, sure, definitely if a big
Sure.
branch falls.
You know, down the road, what it would cost the city.
I would imagine though, if you get
Having
any
another
park, and that's what the people have said they kind of want, that you're gonna have those same issues anywhere. So that's not like a disc golf thing, that's a people thing.
That's what you said.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, definitely.
And I would say that at least the disc golf community that we're a part of, very just good people all around. And I think that we could definitely organize like a cleanup day, or I know that your community does that all the time, and maybe this is just another park where, you know, just another place to go and clean up as a group. And I don't foresee much being needed in that way, just because the things are securely in the ground, and so there's nothing to really
They have master
mess
locks
up
on them.
after.
Like, never seen one get stolen or anything like that.
So I'm interested in looking at what all that would entail. For sure.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what they're looking for tonight.
Yes.
So, I mean, we need to identify the lands, how big the parcels are. We need to look at the land to see if you can actually get 18 homes. We don't know.
For sure, yeah.
So we're.
No, it'd be great to just get permission to walk around the land.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yes, all right, so that's consensus, we didn't really need a vote, it was just consensus to move forward, so.
Okay.
All right,
Great.
you're sold.
And if you
Thank
all
you all
would
for
like, call
listening.
along. So, would we be able to sell discs at City Hall, or?
Absolutely. I think there's lots of possibilities there. Maybe having like the Baldwin stamp, maybe we come up with a nice logo for the course itself. Get that on a disc where it would be stamped on. That's nominal cost really. And then you could have those to sell at City Hall, or you know, the Hollow Log could set up a rack where people could buy, or rent discs even as a possibility.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And, you mentioned an app.
Yes.
That, to see where they're located, what's the name of the app?
It's UDisc, the letter U, DISC. And that app, it's a free app, and most people who play have it, and it has like a map of the country. You can zoom in, zoom out, and when you get a course, a basket would pop up in Baldwin where the course is, so people that are looking for courses in the area would see that immediately. So it's like free, amazing advertisement, and people will automatically know that it exists.
Thank you very much. And it would generate some interest in downtown businesses as well, the coffee
Yeah.
shop.
Awesome.
Awesome, thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Are there other Baldwin residents or business for the city? Please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, we will move on to old business. Consideration approval of the second reading of Oak Terrace variance, ordinance number 2025-05162Z. Ms. Woodmaster?
Well, I can still explain. We have the public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, did I skip that? Sorry. Oh, jeez,
We were moving right
along.
along. Ready to go. Sorry.
Okay.
Well, good evening.
Good evening, we can open the public hearing.
Yes. So just as a reminder, the request from the Oak Terrace development is to accept, there's still two options that are written into the ordinance. The council has the ability to make the determination of which one they would like. The first option is to accept the lines as they are. From the last meeting, we met with Oki and Brian. I believe Scott also went out there to verify that the two sections of the line that were covered by the asphalt has been removed. The asphalt part of it has been removed, so it's no longer underneath the asphalt. The water line is anywhere from 3 feet to 7 feet from the edge of pavement throughout the development. So the request tonight is for that to be accepted as is, even though it's not in the approved utility easement from the plans. The second option is to have a master meter on that development, but that does require EPD's approval for the private water system, which at this point we do not have yet. Any questions?
No, but we can open the public hearing. Bubba, do you want to do that? Or you want to do it?
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Good evening. The ordinance that would
enact what Emily just explained is 2025-05162Z, and it reads as a variance from the development standards that are typically required. So that is a zoning decision that requires a public hearing. So this is the public hearing. It's your opportunity to speak on the question of the variance that the city council is considering, and I will declare the public hearing open. If anybody wishes to speak in favor of the variance, now is your opportunity. Hearing none, if there's anybody wishing to speak in opposition to the variance, you have that opportunity as well. And typically, the council will leave this public hearing open for a period of time until they consider the issue, and they'll close it right before then. So if somebody thinks of something you want to say, let us know, and you can come up and participate.
I did wanna, there was one question that I had, with the last time that we talked about this, I was sitting up here like I didn't know what a utility easement was. I kept saying the right of way and then utility easement. So,
That's right.
well, it was so now, and I meant to actually send an email to you and Fletcher and be like, I'm sorry, I do actually know what this is. But my question was then, the standard says that it needs to be the 25 feet off the center line of the road, which is like all the way in. Is there a reason we do
No.
that as opposed to just having it in the public utility?
The standards require that it be in a 10-foot dedicated utility easement
Yes.
because it's not on the city right of way.
Yeah,
So if that development were inside the city limits, we would have put the water line in our right of way.
I see.
Because we're taking it over and it's our responsibility. But because the county
That's
right of way is not owned by the city,
right.
we had a dedicated utility easement. That's why the standards are written that way, so that in the event that something were to happen to that line,
Okay.
we're interacting only with our utility.
I knew that there was
with our access
something
to
that was just really strange, that that's the difference, that when it's outside of city limits, because if we're going around digging around in the county's right of way, and we mess something up, we're responsible for it.
Yeah, and it's not
Whereas-
just the city limits,
Uh-huh.
because there's some county roads that are inside city limits.
Yeah.
And it's the county right of way, we still wouldn't wanna put the
I
city
know.
line in the county right of way.
Okay, because I was kind of hot about it, not hot, but just, it was like, why do we have this dedicated utility easement? That makes more sense, so, thank you for clarifying that. Okay,
Okay, Bubba, we're gonna leave it open for 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yes?
okay.
So, we do need to amend the agenda. So we are leaving open the public hearing if there's anybody who wants to speak for or against the Oak Terrace variance, please let me know. In the meantime, I need a motion to amend the agenda by adding under new business item number 4, consideration approval of emergency water line repair expense.
Okay, so moved.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venter. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilwoman Davis. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, there we go. All right, Chris, would you like to give the clerk from
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Good evening, gallery. One of the sheets you have in front of me, I've been doing this about a year now. I met with my boss, Emily Woodmaster, over there, and just as like when I got into policing, I had to go to the police academy. I talked to her about doing some continuing education in this field. So the first page you have talks about the Georgia Association of Code Enforcement. It's sponsored UGA's Carl Vinson Institute of Government. I went to my first conference this year. I took 3 courses. You have 3 levels of training that are there. It explains each one as far as how many hours you have to get, the scores you have to make on your test, and I did pass them all, just so you know. It will take a little bit of time. Basically, I'll kind of go to one conference a year. But this is for continuing education. This is good. Most places that have code enforcement send their people to this. So I just wanted you to have that, so you all knew kind of what I'm doing on the education front. The next topic I was going to talk about was, I've been working on various properties over the year that I've been doing this. Some of these, I gave you some pictures. These are pictures of properties that are success stories. There's some that I was working before the spring cleanup in April and during the spring cleanup in April. The first picture you have there, you can see a lot with gravel and a boat trailer on it. I had a resident that was complaining about this being next to their house. It also, you don't see it here, but it had a mattress on it also.
And that was owned by a developer,
Mhm.
that particular lot.
And you can look to the picture to the right that shows
Beautiful.
the inversion. That's what we have today. So they're, that was in a subdivision, they're very happy about that now.
I would imagine so. So the developer was dumping all of their gravel and whatever else onto this lot that cannot be physically be developed. So figured they'd be using it for something else to everybody else's detriment. So thank you.
The bottom picture was one, you can see the picture on the left, it was way overgrown. Grass is probably up to your armpits.
Yeah.
The shrubs are way out of control. There was trash on the property and everything. That's the inversion there. The house has actually since been sold by the original owner.
Yes, yeah.
You probably knew that.
I did, yes. That's
This,
awesome, it looks great.
the next page, this was one I got with the owner on this. You can see off the front of it, it had an overhang, which was dangerous. And I told him, I said, hey man, first of all, we gotta get that down, that's dangerous. Somebody comes over here and falls on them. With homeless and so forth. I said, plus you gotta get it cleaned up. So there is the after picture. Now, the trailer, he's recently pulled that over there, but he's pretty much keeping this place a lot cleaner.
Good.
So that's a good end result on that one. The last one, this property here, the one below, I've hit this one twice. The first time I hit it, it had a car up on blocks. It had no wheels on it, had busted out windows, and that was all gone. Then I had the neighbors complain about this. They were doing some renovation on it, and you see the big pile out there. They were complaining because they were having a problem with rodents and so forth. The owner of the house is I've dealt with them before, they're very receptive. They got the dumpster in there, and now you see where it's at.
Nice.
I have a bunch of other pictures. If anybody's interested in coming over, I can show you other properties that are cleaned up. I've ridden with 2 of you, had an eventful trip with 1 of you. I welcome any of you that want to come ride with me, if you'd like to do it.
These look amazing. I would love the property that's just Little Poplar Lane. The community actually came together. She needed some help. It was a lady who has some mobility challenges, and she asked for help. I kind of spread the word, and the community came together. This was during cleanup week, so we were kind of trying to take advantage of the opportunity where we were doing cleanup week and removing things from people's curbside, like the tires and batteries and all of the trash, metal, things like that. And man, the community really showed up and showed out. And I think, well, most of you probably haven't heard this, but in our meetings, because we talked about it, but the Checkmark, I think was the name of anyway, they brought dumpsters, they piled all the stuff in there, helped her out, and we would never have known about it if it weren't for our code compliance officer, so thank you.
I think that's, it for what I was gonna cover. If you had any questions, I think the spring cleanup was very successful. Like I said, with the pictures, I had other pictures. You should have seen some of the stuff on the roadway.
Yeah.
I think, our public works did a great job. I mean, they had a tall order to do, especially with all that put out. But I think overall, it's, this year, last year is really good, really good.
I've had a lot of people come up to me and talk about specifically compliment the properties that come in, Duncan Bridge and 365, those coming in, it's literally on our front face, and it is a huge difference. And I appreciate the attitude at which you conduct your job, because, everybody's like, oh, compliance, they wanna tell us what to do, and you don't do that. You do it with a really gracious, attitude, and, with more of help than, I'm here to, kick your door in and take your property.
Well,
That's not the situation.
We don't call it code enforcement.
Right.
We call it code compliance.
Yeah, some people don't like compliance word either,
But
one of them, but yeah.
I'm interested to find out what's in those empty drums, those big barrels that we saw when we were out riding.
That's
I
our
was
bodies, right?
shocked at- it's in the city limits, there was so much dumping, it was unbelievable. Furniture, big
Yeah.
drums and stuff, and the owners are cleaning it up. But just the fact that folks from who knows where are coming in and making their own, landfill, basically.
Right, they just showing up and just dumping things.
Well, this is
on people's
property that's near and dear to her subdivision.
Yeah,
And, we went out on a ride on it, and I showed her firsthand, what's going on, and I've gotten with the owner of the property, and, he's gonna get it cleaned up, and he's also gonna block it off, because they're private drives on the property.
yeah, people coming in to shoot, that would be really.
Well, they don't
upset.
want to pay the expense of taking it to a dump.
Right.
That's what it is.
It is, yeah.
It's a shame. I hate it that the property owner has to clean it up. But I was gonna say, Eric, by the way, you've seen the dumpster out there on the property that you're interested in. I talked to him the other day, so that's gonna be coming down. Just FYI. Yeah, but all the paperwork's done, it's all in, the demo's in, so it'll be done.
if residents have a concern about a particular property, they should get with City Hall, for you.
Oh, yeah, I receive emails, I get calls, I get voicemails, it's picking up. So they reach out, the word's getting out, they get, I get back with them within 24 hours and get on it.
Great. And thank you too for agreeing to work after hours, when homeowners would be home after work and, shifting your hours a little bit. So thank you for doing that too.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else for Officer Thomason? No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Bubba, are you keeping the time? Sir?
I'll kind of address it for just a minute, if that's all right. About the Oak Terrace variance. Thank you all for having us in. Thank you for a work session 2 weeks ago. And so at that session, I had asked for the discretion to meet with staff and work through a couple of ideas that we had. And they've been gracious enough to do that. Had a really good work session with them. And so one of the questions that they had was, well, it's a problem if the water line is under the asphalt. It could be a problem for the future. So one of the things that, and we actually spoke some after the meeting and then had a subsequent meeting with staff, but wanted to reassure you guys that we had Kenner Construction came out and spent a day and a half potholing and vacuuming out sections so that Scott could come and see where the water line is. And as was mentioned, I think Emily did a good job of representing, our couple of meetings. As was mentioned, there was one section, I don't remember one, but there was a section where the water line had gotten under the asphalt a little bit. The asphalt contractor had made the cul-de-sac even bigger than was required. And the water line was in what we think is the right place, but the asphalt had gotten over it. And so that has been cut. Scott's been out to view these potholes and see that the water line is there where we think it is. Glad to, and expect to update our as-built drawings to show, the change in the asphalt, and to show that the water line is not under the asphalt. The water line's been installed with, excellent materials. We think excellent craftsmanship, with some challenges tying into that old line on Duncan Bridge, but still You're working greatly together with city staff, and Keener's group. We think that we have a great product, and we're excited to bring you guys all the new revenue and water meters, and would ask you to accept the line as is.
Is that the issue when they made the cul-de-sac larger, is that what they were saying, when we were talking about the county moved the road? Was that what the issue was?
I think there was some confusion about that. The
Okay.
road never moved, but it is true that these cul-de-sacs, I think this is the first subdivision developed in Harrison County since '08 or so. And a new rule, we think, based on school bus turnaround, so that a school bus would not have to do a K-turn.
Yeah.
The cul-de-sacs are now much bigger. Anybody who's been out there, you'd be surprised at how large these cul-de-sacs are. I think you can turn a fire truck around inside them without even a K-turn. So the asphalt contractor who did this, not realizing that they might be causing a problem, let the asphalt get a little bit farther, so the cul-de-sac was even bigger than the county asked for it to be. And so that's been trimmed back to the 50-foot radius that the county requests or requires.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Are we still within the 20 or?
So, if you can announce, if anybody else wishes to speak, they are welcome to, otherwise you
Close
can,
it.
you can close the public hearing, yes, ma'am.
Is there anybody else who wishes to speak for or against the variance? Seeing none, we're going to close the public hearing. 7:10, we close the public hearing. So, first item under old business is consideration approval of the second reading of the Oak Terrace variance ordinance number 2025-0516-2Z. Is there any other discussion
No,
on
I just,
this?
if we're, going to accept the lines, we just, is there some sort of way that we need to word this to require that the as-built survey be corrected before it's official, or
You can table the decision until the as-built is completed.
how long do you think it's gonna be before the as-built would be able to be corrected?
We'll contact them in the morning, but at the most, I'd say a week. I'll try to push them faster than that.
I thought we were supposed to have that for tonight, no? Am I mistaken?
Yeah. I think that was the recommendation, was that we require the as-built.
Yeah, I thought 2 weeks ago when we talked, you were gonna go to the EPD to find out if you could do the master meter. And then
No, I thought we were getting a decision, and then we were going to do whichever one, because if we do both, then one of them's not valid, so,
What we expected or hoped for was a contingent decision, contingent upon,
That's what
and then the as-bills were what we expected, or what we hope you guys will accept with, contingent upon.
okay, so you didn't go to the EPD?
no.
No, we've not.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not in favor of a master meter. That's just extra, there's a reason why we chose to not allow them anymore, so, I mean, I personally am okay with accepting them in the road like they are, because they're not covered up by asphalt. It's in the it's done now. I'm okay with that, we just definitely want the as-built to
As
be
soon
able
as
to
the
match
engineer can have it
everything.
drawn, we'll have it to you.
Yeah, okay.
But it's my understanding that it still doesn't conform with the
It doesn't.
original plan.
Correct.
So it doesn't conform to what was originally submitted and where they would normally lie.
That's correct.
And that's the as-built, yeah, the as-bilt's what delineates all of that. So,
But the as-built, them updating the as-built is just gonna confirm that it's in the right of way.
Okay.
The water line is not in the 10-foot
Right.
dedicated easement as designed. It's in the right of way.
and I understand that, and I'm okay myself, only speaking for myself, but I'm fine with that, I just want it to be updated on the as-built. We've always made sure that we hold, any kind of developer to those standards, and we've had some real fights about it. So I'm like, so, is it gonna hold anybody up or of any way, shape or form if we table this until the as-built is done so that we can have something to accept? Would that be all right?
I would, when's the next meeting? We'd prefer to get a contingent decision, contingent upon the as-built.
Information, because I've had conflicting information come to me, so I would like more information.
To table it?
Right, if we were to accept this, and I understand it's built with great care right now.
Yeah.
But if we were to accept the lines, and down the road there is a leak, an unfortunate leak, then we are responsible for repairing the county road, right? So that would be
The
a
road?
cost.
No,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be under the road.
It's not
But
under
if,
the road.
It's next to it.
if the water leak causes erosion underneath the base of the road, it would be our responsibility to repair it.
And that would be on us to repair a county road.
Like, there's a couple of instances where like, there's a water line down Airport Road that, the water line goes underneath the driveway of a business, and we had to repave the driveway once we corrected the leak, because that's where our water line is, and we did the damage, so we had to repair that driveway.
So a master meter would prevent that if we had a master meter and then there was an unfortunate leak, then, and the asphalt was damaged, it would be up to the county.
Or the
Right.
owner of the owner of the
Right.
line.
Okay,
We'd be responsible only up to the meter.
up to the meter.
Eric, you wanna wait? You want more information?
Sorry.
No, no, it's fine.
Conflicting information, so I'm not.
Carrie, where are you abstaining? You're abstaining. Are you okay? Or you wanna vote? You can call for a question.
I mean, I'm okay with it because it's a big decision and an important decision, and I would rather feel confident about it than, make it just, do it too quickly and then regret it later.
Okay.
So I'm okay waiting if everyone else wanted to know that.
So I have two tables, and where are you, Alice? You're on vote now?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I'll just be perfectly honest, it's a great argument, you're right, we would at some point have to repair the asphalt if that happens. I do think that we get kind of caught up in the standards. I think that we've heard it time and time and time again, there's been things that have come up, it's like, there's always a good excuse to have that, but I think sometimes we get so wound around the axle with standards and policy that common sense just goes right out the door. So for me, I'm okay with accepting the lines, but I'm just one person, and if council wants to look out for things down the road, then yeah, it makes sense to have the master meter, or, I don't know, the only other option is to make them dig it up and put it in that extra 10-foot utility easement, so.
I'm okay with the master meter.
Yeah.
But we haven't even looked into seeing if the EPD would accept it, right?
We have not.
Does the EPD make a
There's a requirement for, it would be considered a private water system because it's providing water to more than 14 homes. This is an 18-home development. So the EPD would classify that as a private water system, so it has to be their standard, and they'd have to authorize that.
and then it would have to be sold to someone like American Water or something like that. For 18 homes.
I struggle with why is it not one of those.
I'm sorry, did
We can't
I'm
hear you.
confused about why I'm still confused about why it's not when it was supposed to be to begin with.
So,
Is it the person that installed the water line, the contractor that installed the water line?
Yeah. Well, when we install it, there's one page of the plans that show it the way it is on Baldwin's website. Then there's another page that shows it in an easement 15 feet away. So there's a discrepancy in the plan. And it got put where one of them was. And it's not in the.
Where did the plan come from?
The plans came from both engineers. They were drawn by one engineer and approved by the other one.
Well, do you wanna talk about that? Cause I thought that was addressed in the meeting last week.
Yeah, there's, on the plans that we approved, based on our minimum development standards, requires a dedicated utility easement that's 10 feet. That is on the plans that were approved by our engineer, who is our local issuing authority, so that it didn't have to go to DEP, right? So they approved that plan. What is out there now does not show, I mean, you can go out there and see that the water line is not in the 10-foot utility easement as designed on the plan.
So the water line contractor messed up.
I'm not gonna say that. There are conflicting details.
See, this is why I didn't.
I'm happy to provide the plan again to all of you. The plan that was submitted to the city, that was approved by our engineers, that is stamped by their engineer. That is the plan that we approved, that we would use to accept those water lines into our water system.
Was it?
But that's not what was.
That's not what is in the ground.
Was it perhaps a situation where that's just something that doesn't happen everywhere else? I shouldn't say it that way, that sounds terrible. It's something that deviates from the norm when developing these things. It's like, oops, I missed that because I'm not used to seeing things 10 foot into a
Yes,
utility
ma'am, and
easement.
most all water lines are in the right of way.
Which is why I had such.
99% of Baldwin's
Yeah.
water lines are in the right of way.
Yeah, so I think that may be what the situation is that it deviates from what people are typically used to, and, I mean, which is why I was confused 2 weeks ago. Like, why aren't the water lines in the actual right of way instead of, 10 feet onto someone's property? So, if I'm understanding correctly, it was a mistake that was made when the lines were being put in, just because it's something that you're used to seeing it in the right of way? Is that the situation?
Not gonna say for sure that it was a mistake. There's a detail that shows that we should put it exactly where it is.
Oh,
There's a plan that shows that it should be somewhere else.
in the plans that were submitted to the city and stamped by both?
And Baldwin's published water construction standards on the website.
Oh, is that something that's been now?
I'm happy to share with you the information that they're discussing. I don't have it at my disposal.
Okay.
But it's a detail that is not specific to an actual water main that is being installed in a right of way. Our standards require the 10-foot dedicated utility easement. They
Yeah.
put it on their plan. That's not where it is. It is on the plans that were approved by the city, by our engineer and by their engineer. That is not what is in the ground.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright,
So,
so I guess
We need more
we're gonna,
information.
right.
okay. Can I have a motion to table the second reading of the Oak Terrace variance, number 2025-05162C? Yes.
So
To table it.
To table it.
Okay. I have a motion from Councilman Bender. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilman Keith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Aye. So the motion to table passes 3-1 with one abstention from Councilwoman Davis. Okay, the next item on our agenda this evening, under new business, consideration approval of the first reading of the Brasino zoning change ordinance number 2025-051637. Ms. Woodmaster.
All right, we had another case similar to this a couple of months ago. This is an individual who is wanting to make some modifications to their home. However, it is currently zoned, I believe, highway business, which it's adjacent to all R1 developments. We're not sure why this one in particular was designated highway business, but in order for them to secure the permits to make the modifications to their home, we do have to go through this zoning procedure in order to rezone it back to the R1.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's been a home forever.
Yeah.
There's never been a business there, so we're not sure
I
why.
think we've actually talked about this one too, yeah, okay, that's really odd.
Are there other homes in that same area that should also be rezoned?
Not that I'm aware of, but, I mean, I'm happy to look into that. There's a couple of zones that Aaron and I have been looking into that are a little conflicting, and we're trying to make sense of what's where. And as these come up, this is the procedure, is to just rezone it the way that it was supposed to be zoned intentionally, or initially, excuse me. And for in this particular case, it's a residential home, it always has been. And so we told this family that we would bring this before council to rezone it to the appropriate zone, but I'm happy to look further into that.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, it seems like we should do them all at once rather than,
Right.
Yeah. Any other questions?
But right now, we should go ahead and,
Take care of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just so they can move forward with the project.
absolutely. Okay.
No, not at all. I'm familiar with it, yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the first reading of the Racino zoning change ordinance number 2025-05163 as presented?
Should we read it?
Oh, read it, okay. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of Baldwin, Georgia by zoning all those tracts or parcel of land owned by Rogelio A. Braceno Castro in being 0.35 acres, more or less, being tax map parcel 091B 025 and lying and being at land lot 184 of the 10th Land District of Habersham County, Georgia, and being more particularly described on a deed or plat which is attached hereto, and which is incorporated by reference into this ordinance from Highway Business HB to Residential Single Family District R1 without conditions, repealing conflicting ordinances to provide for severability, to provide for an effective date, and for other purposes.
Can we make a modification to that? My apologies. As you were reading, I was like, this doesn't sound right.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
with conditions, there is a condition. They are required to submit a survey of the property within 6 months of the adoption of this ordinance. Same issue as before, there is a warranty deed, but there is no survey. They reached out to a surveyor who's supposed to get it.
Within the next month,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
thought we would give some cushion just to be safe in case something happened.
Okay.
So it's with conditions.
With condition, provide survey, how long the time?
6
months.
Within 6 months, yeah.
That's like the last thing we
Standard,
did,
yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Do you want me to read the whole thing again? Are we okay?
You guys
with
are okay.
condition?
We'll put it up.
Yeah, we're okay? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the first reading of the Braceno zoning change? I have a motion from Councilwoman Davis. Do I have a second? Second from Councilwoman Lehman. All those in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item on the agenda, consideration approval of customer refund regarding solid waste disposal.
This is an interesting one. We have a gentleman who came to the city a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago.
Town hall? Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Was it the one at the town?
No.
No?
No. He came to City Hall because he was concerned about his water bill. Turns out he had 2 trash cans on his water bill, and he has never had 2 cans. So we went back and researched. When I first got here in 2018, we did an audit of all of our trash service because we had just changed companies.
Yeah.
And for over a 3-month period of time, we worked with the trash company to verify what was out in the field, what was out at the curb. And all 3 months, this house came back as 2 cans. So it was put on his account back in 2019 as a 2-can house. So he's been paying for 2 cans since 2019. He has never had 2 cans. He did not realize it until he was looking at his bill and was like, this is a lot of money. He talked to a few of his neighbors and was like, wait, but that's not how much I'm paying for trash.
Yeah.
Turns out it's because he was indeed paying for 2 cans. So we reached out to FC Sanitation for them to confirm that they are indeed not picking up 2 cans. He said that he has never had them, And I explained to him that I had the ability to refund this current fiscal year for the services that he paid for, but he did not have. But in order for us to refund the rest of it, it has to be an approval from council because it's from previous fiscal years. So the total amount of the refund is $1,034. For this fiscal year, it's $133.56, which we intend on giving to him. And then for the prior years, it's $944. So the total due to him is $1,034. If the council chooses to refund this, it would be in the form of a credit on his utility account. So there's not a check that's issued, it would just be on the utility account, and then his future bills are reduced from that balance until it's fully credited. Yeah.
But we can't, because it's a prior fiscal year, so the way they.
Correct, right, yeah. Well, I think that's a better solution.
Yeah. Would it reduce just the trash collection, or would it reduce the whole bill?
No, so what we did in getting to these numbers is we went through every fiscal year what the cost was for the can of that year, because the cost goes up.
Yeah.
So however many cans were paid for at that rate per year, that is how we arrived at this total. So this is only the additional can that he did not have on.
Yeah, I understand, but how are we applying the credit?
It would be applied across the board.
Okay.
It's not just for trash.
And you
It would
use it
apply
for
the
water
entire,
and sewer too.
yeah, that's
Okay.
correct. Yep,
So we'll just draw down from that 900.
that's correct.
Not-
1,034
not sewer.
even.
Yeah. Bring it where we do. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's great. Okay. And was he good to work with?
Yeah, he was like, I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. And he was like, if there's anything that you can do, and I said, we can bring it to council. So that's what we did. He was apologetic, and he was like, I should have caught this 6 years ago. Because he should have caught it 6 years ago. And he was like, I didn't. And I was like, well, we're here now.
I know what you're looking at, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay. Are we ready, council?
Yes.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the solid waste disposal refund to Mr. Gomez as presented?
So,
I have a motion from Councilwoman Benjamin. Do I have a second? I have a second from Councilwoman Lehman. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. And then we amended the agenda to include consideration approval of the emergency water line repair expense.
This is from this weekend. We had, sorry, I did not write it down. We had a major water leak down Stone Pile. It started on Friday. Our crews worked for 42 hours straight from Friday into Saturday to correct that leak. In fixing that leak, it caused 2 more down the line. And so they've spent, this entire holiday weekend working to restore service to the mountain system. So that is completed, but as a result, there obviously, we had to call in Keener Construction to come out and help us dig for the line because it was way further than we anticipated. This is a 65-year-old line.
it was further down into the earth than it is.
Yeah. So he had to come and dig it out for us. As a result, the cost for that service was $7,960. We are proposing that this come from the Public Works budget. It's just over the $5,000 threshold for City Hall.
And it's in there, because they almost never use all of their.
They have this year.
Have they really?
Yeah, they've had to sacrifice a project
Yeah.
to accommodate this leak and the Willingham Avenue leak earlier this year.
And Keener came out quickly.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, they also, there was a couple of issues with the fixing the line, locating the gas lines out there. So there's a couple of different things going on that elongated the time because we are beholden to those locates. Yeah, he was out there as soon as we called.
He's been a good community partner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
This was under my city.
Eric, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got to get people water.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay. Can I have a motion to approve the emergency water line repair expense not to exceed $8,000 and to be expensed as presented?
So,
I have a motion from Councilwoman Benjamin. Venture, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second from Councilwoman Davis, all those in favor? Any opposed? The next item on the agenda is executive session, but I am going to read the announcements, for this evening, and then folks, don't have to stay through executive session if you don't choose. The first announcement, the proposed FY '26 budget will be available to public online and at City Hall on May 30th, and to be formally presented to the council at the June 3rd work session. The public hearing for the FY 2026 budget will be held on June 9th, at the June 9th council meeting. The first meeting for the 2025 City of Baldwin Comprehensive Plan will be June 11th at 5:30 p.m. at the Baldwin City Hall. All Baldwin residents, business owners, stakeholders are invited to provide feedback for the city's next 5-year plan and join the committee if interested. Please contact City Clerk at cityofbaldwin.org for more information or to RSVP. And the third annual Baldwin Water War is on June 14th from 2:30 to 4:30 at Mitchell Gated Park. Bring the water guns and the towel to beat the heat and kick off summer vacation. Any announcements from council?
I have something on this to say. There's a lot of folks here tonight that normally aren't here, and I'm guessing it might be because of the town hall we had and your concern, about taxes. And so if that's the case, I just want to convey that we are continuing to work on the budget and reducing the, expenditures for 2026. It's not on the agenda for tonight because we're still working on it. So I just wanted to let y'all know that we heard you the other night, and we're taking into consideration all of the suggestions and concerns that you have.
Absolutely, yes, and thank you for coming. That's, means a lot when the public steps up and say, hey, we're not okay with this. I think it's great. I'm really glad that you guys have showed up, so thank you.
Anything else from council?
Come to the water war, you get to dunk me in the Dunkin' booth. Might make you feel better.
And I want to thank our public works staff for working 48 hours, went home, got a little sleep, and then came back again yesterday, working on that water leak. And a thank you to the residents who have experienced water loss or diminished water amount, had to boil water. It's an old system down the mountain. We struggle with this every day. We talk about the water, the mountain part of our water system every single day. So thank you for your patience through this. Any announcements from staff? Okay, we are going to, I need a motion to, what do I need a motion to? Close, yeah, need a motion to, close the regular session and move into executive session for land and personnel, for land acquisition and disposal, and executive session for personnel.
So moved.
I have a motion from Councilwoman Venture. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second from Councilman Keith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Please come to the next meeting. Yes.